splits in half.
Like that.
Like that.
Looking like that. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
It's Tingle Co.
Like Lloyd said, we are dual streaming this morning on both pages. Both the Tingle Co page has the live show this morning, and here on the Colada Show page, as we are closing out the last couple weeks here on Jordy's channel before we head on over full time to the Tingle Co side. We appreciate you guys taking this ride with us, rolling on through. Like we said, LSU baseball Friday night. We will have a watch party on the Tingle Co channel. So if you're not subscribed, go over there, subscribe, and you can even just watch the show because it'll be live right over there. Working on our normal Wednesday guests for this morning, Jacques Doucet, Nick Underhill, at 8 and 8:30. But we've got some headlines for you. Jay Johnson met with the media yesterday to preview the SEC tournament, as they, I think, are headed that way today. They're headed to Hoover.
Are they busting?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think they're busting to Hoover
Really?
from what I read.
What was the series they bust to? It was Texas A&M, wasn't it?
A&M.
So they got to break that curse. You don't want to. You don't want
Don't
the
you
bus.
put that knife in your leg.
You don't want to bust. You don't want a bus curse.
Ain't
don't want any of that.
Ain't no such thing as curses.
Oh yeah.
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights. But yesterday, you saw the SEC tournament get started. Also, some news
Can an
yesterday.
MRI fix your knee?
Nope.
You from Midland, right?
LSU pitcher Sidney Berzon enters the transfer portal. That was some pretty big news. That's probably the biggest news that happened yesterday in the LSU sphere, as that is a very big transfer entry for LSU softball, as the conversation around LSU softball right now, not the best PR for LSU softball. And that's why hopefully we can get Jacques Doucet in here this morning to shed some light on that current situation and what's going on over on that side. Everybody weigh in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on the new construction of the SEC tournament. How does everybody feel about the one and done, single game elimination, show up, lose, leave? Mizzou's rough season came to a end yesterday as they lose 4-1 to Alabama.
Not that bad of a game.
No, it wasn't. They solo homer for Mizzou during the in-game interview for Alabama, and they go up 1-0. But Alabama rolls on to a 4-1 victory. Brady Neal with a home run late in that game. Oklahoma wins 5-1 over Kentucky. Lloyd got that one right. I did not. I thought Kentucky. But Oklahoma rolls on to a victory in their first game. And then, like we all assumed, Florida pushes right through South Carolina and dominates in that game. Then the late night game, the game one of kind of LSU's side of the bracket, got delayed until this morning. So that game we played this morning, as it wasn't able to be played last night due to weather. The weather stuff is getting started already. We'll see what that looks like on Friday. From what I've heard, there's some people with nerves about LSU and the weather and their game Friday night. With LSU's luck that they've had so far this season, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a weather issue. So, but appreciate you guys getting in here, joining us this morning. Like I said, we are live on the Tingle Co channel as well. Matthew Conklin, Kenny Bilala in the chat over there. But yeah, those are the headlines for today. I do have a couple of two claps. Oh, one more headline. On3 put out their 2027 On 300 top 15, and 3 of those 15 were from the state of Louisiana. As when I looked at that 2027 class, a lot of talk about the 2026 class in Louisiana, and it's very talented. And LSU's in a good spot with a lot of those guys. That 2027 class in the state of Louisiana is pretty good as well. Elijah Haven and the rest of that class is stacked when you really go look at it. I did a nice little deep dive into it yesterday after I saw On3 put out that top 15. So that'll be back-to-back big-time recruiting opportunities for Brian Kelly and LSU when you look at that. Two claps for today. The LSU fan base. It was announced yesterday that LSU was number 1 in regular season fan attendance with a total of 387,484 2 claps. Ready. Jared Mitchell.
Goal.
Crushing it.
Before I saw him, he got crushed by the sun.
Yes.
And, dude, I'm fortunate to be able to work with Jared Mitchell and know him very well. There's nothing that makes him more upset than that. Like, he's like, I can't get much darker, cuz. Like, I don't know what y'all are trying to do to me, put me in the middle after. He goes, I'll do the night games.
Yep.
He goes, but if you want me to do the night games, I'll be gone. You won't see me.
Yep.
But
no, Jay Mitchell's
claps.
crushing it. 2 claps for Jared Mitchell as yesterday.
He was texting his thumbs off, dude. He was so bad.
But he was rocking and rolling. You couldn't tell when you turned the TV on.
Internal smile.
Professional. He crushed it. And then I saw before they got started the Florida-South Carolina game, him and Paul had a little moment where they got to chit-chat in a little pregame interview, and Jared was asking about the 2007 LSU team, compared that record to 2025 South Carolina, and he was like, how similar are those two situations? And Paul hits him with well, I didn't have Jared Mitchell playing center field as a freshman.
Jared, I don't have the same guys that I had. A guy like you.
But he was like, but look, with that 2017, I had freshmen that I put out there like Jared Mitchell, Sean Ochinko, and Ryan Schimpf. And I think playing them big-time experience in 07 had a lot to do with 2009.
And don't forget that 2023 team. A lot of those guys.
But it was a nice moment, obviously, for Jay Mitch. Huh?
I recruited Beloso.
Yeah.
Dylan Cruz,
I recruited him. Josh Pierce on this team now.
Not easy to get a guy from Florida over to Louisiana.
Number 1 player in the country.
Now it's really hard to win in the SEC.
It is. But it was a
Paul
nice
to
moment
dude.
between Paul and Jay Mitch. But yeah, Jared Mitchell, 2 claps, ready. Absolutely crushing it over on SC Network. Final one, Sam Myers, a.k.a. Silent Sam, knocked out rally time yesterday right after the show. Like we trained him up on the board. He gave a little test stream, got it going. And, usually rally time is recorded on Wednesdays, but they sat down and they knocked it out yesterday. And Sam, I went and double-checked it, and Sam killed it. He got the audio levels were correct. You could hear Mr. Justin Babin Jr. very loud and clear. And he did an excellent job. So, Sam, 2 claps, ready. Rally time will be put out soon, getting ready for LSU baseball as they will take on somebody between Mississippi State, A&M, and Auburn Friday night. Also, 2 claps that I was just thinking of. David Reed, if you missed the show yesterday, or if you were out, I saw David's name pop up in the chat. If you missed,
you saw him, I was like, no way.
Pop up in the chat. If you missed yesterday when we talked about David Reed's, we were talking about LSU betting lines and things like that. We flashed back to 2019 a little bit, and David had a legendary run in 2019. On July 1st of 2019, drops a little bet on LSU to win the Natty because why not? And then he decides the week before the season, you know what? Feeling really good about it. Let me bump the money up and let me double down on it. He bets again on LSU to win the national championship. And the crazy thing is the odds were better in July than they were in August, a week before the season. And then after LSU versus Texas, he decides, you know what, let me throw a couple bucks on Joe Burrow Heisman Trophy plus 2,000. And obviously clean sweep there for our guy, David Reed. 2 claps, ready. Legendary stuff, David. We have a legend in the chat this morning. Thank you guys for joining us. Love having y'all in here. But yeah, no, I mean those are the headlines today. Not too much to get to, but we do have the sound from Jay Johnson's press conference yesterday as he met with the media, getting ready for the SEC tournament. The more we broke down kind of the bracket yesterday for the tournament, and funny, one of our new hires, one of the new guys that we've brought in, his name is Carson, and he texted me yesterday, and he thought a good little conversation piece to have, especially before we get into Jay Johnson previewing the tournament, is for us to look at the bracket and to discuss what team out of the day one teams we think can make the farthest run.
I was going to ask you before we even get there. God, Sam's tall.
Yeah. Mess with your mic a little bit.
Solid Sam. What'd you think about the Jay interview? How about Mikey getting in there with the question that I thought I was going to have to ask?
No, the Jay interview was awesome, and I tell you what, that moment, that clip that Jack that put out,
Jiminy Crickets,
where y'all asked Jay about the hot mic. I mean, that is just
don't know what you're
all
talking
time.
about.
Like Jay's instant reaction when he hears Mike say it, where he's just like, dude,
I made sure to keep the camera on him because I knew
best.
something was going to happen.
That is the best. That was like when I watched the clip. That's the first thing I saw. So then I went back and watched the interview because I was I missed this. I got
Internet's crazy. Huh?
That's how it works. And
I can't certainly watch 38 minutes of this. I won't make it through the whole thing.
No, you just what do you know? That the hack is you put that thing on 1.75 playback speed them up a little bit, and just roll them through. It cuts the time down a little bit, you know. But yeah, no, Jay crushed it in that interview. Y'all did a great job, and that clip right there was just, I mean, that's like content gold. Like for somebody in like my shoes, where it's, you know, I'm trying to put out like find the things, the little gold nuggets that you can put out on social media. That one is like the hallelujah, thank you. Like just the best clip, and just Jay. You can see how comfortable Jay is with you guys, and y'all do a really good job. Shout out to Mic'd Up. If you missed it on Monday, it was really good stuff with Coach Jay Johnson. Go back and check that out.
I got the clip right here.
Yeah, run that.
Thank you for reposting it because it's just one of those like seminal moments with him.
It was awesome.
It's so funny, and you get to see like the real human side of Jay, which I think people
forget about.
Yeah, well, you see like the dugout Jay. You see, you hear a clip for a second, but it's like this guy lives, breathes, eats LSU baseball, and also is like sneaky, become like from day one a Louisiana guy.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Wearing a catapult or a whoop during the game?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Because it would be the highest. It's the in-game interview. That's the only time it would peak.
Yeah, luckily in the postseason, they get those things over with before the inning starts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
God forbid.
And look, there's mics everywhere now, Coach. You get the hot mics. The hot mics happen everywhere now.
Not cool. Not cool. Yeah.
Hey.
Everybody's been calling a hot mic. I've been calling a hot mic.
Coach, don't you admit that was you because nobody knows if it was or not. Innocent until proven guilty in this country. That's what I know.
I don't even know what you guys are
talking
exactly.
Somebody in the stands said it, no doubt.
So good.
No doubt.
It was that woman.
Yeah.
That is so good. Like, that is as good as it gets. Like, when you're talking about as buttoned up as some of these head coach interviews can be.
Thank you.
Like, as buttoned up as you see Jay Johnson usually. That's as good as it gets, man.
I mean, every time I feel like I'm playing with fire because it's going to, you don't always feel like you're going to get that lucky every time, but it's not really. It's not me anymore. Now he just feels so comfortable, and he's so much fun to talk to, and he knows so much about baseball. Like I was talking with my buddy last night about. I mean, he was on an interview when Chris McGee came on from Alexandria Senior High. Shout out A-Town, but we talked about this a little bit before. But when he talks about the move before the move for the move, I was like, do you know how many people don't realize what he's doing? Like, a lot of people can coach the game. A lot of people can sit there and do nothing. LSU is one of the ones that are doing things that when you look back at it, it's Belichickian.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I did this because of this. And, like, to get that little peek behind the curtain as to I put a left-hander in to make sure that they would have to warm up a right-hander. Do I had another left-hander on the bench to come in, and then I had my left-hander in the pen ready to go. And if you're coaching against him, you're just like, I have to think for 9 innings.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to be on that the right side of the table of like somebody like they don't want to play against him.
No.
It's not going to be like, hey, roll the ball out. Good luck, boys.
Right. No. I mean, it's chess. Like it's as much as it's a physical and mental battle for the players, Jay Johnson is crushing the mental battle as a head coach. He's just it's crazy when you really sit back and think about the way he manages the games. And that's why what I was about to say, your question prior to the microphone question was a really good one. Like a sneaky good question. That's going to get overshadowed.
I'm a fluffer.
Yes, overshadowed by the mic discussion. But, I mean, that man, there's no way he could put a catapult or a whoop on because the blood pressure and the heart rate would be – scientists would probably look at it and be like, how are you standing here in front of me? And so, I mean, going through it, dude.
And he believes.
Yeah.
But it's just like, God damn it, I wish I could play.
Literally.
And that's why I asked the question, because I would love to know. I'm sure he knows. Like, he has to have a cardiologist,
Right. Yeah,
Can't be healthy.
Track those things. Make sure everybody's good. But, I mean, especially, like, in the way that this LSU baseball team has won games this year of, 6 runs in the bottom of the ninth against Tennessee. Like
2 at 1:15, 1:17 in the morning.
Right. Going down 5-0 against Nebraska earlier in the year. The North Dakota State game where you're getting hammered and you have to come back at the end of that game to win it. Like,
not a top 8 seed.
I mean, that's why, maybe if they would have just dominated North
take
Dakota State.
Take care of business.
But yeah, no, I mean, he's the best in the business, and that's really good content right there. And we have more from him as he met with the media yesterday to preview what's to come for LSU baseball as they will face one of 3 teams. Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and Auburn are the 3 that would meet up with LSU Friday night, hopefully at its regularly scheduled timing. But as you saw last night, A&M and Mississippi State got pushed and delayed to this morning, so the weather is already becoming a factor. We are planning on watch partying the game Friday night, regardless of the time.
Ain't no plan.
If it gets pushed back, so does the watch party. We'll be right there with it. Getting ready for some
Voodoo
LSU
Mama
baseball.
Juju.
Getting ready for LSU baseball in the postseason. Getting it started right. So let's hear from. Let's get back to that discussion on day 1 teams. The teams that play on day 1, and we will still count Texas A&M and Mississippi State. Out of all of those teams, which one do you think is most poised to make a run in this postseason, in this SEC tournament? I think there's one team that's going to be the most common answer. And if you're in the chat, weigh in as well. Out of the teams you saw play yesterday, who do you expect to make the farthest run in the SEC tournament? But I think there's one team that's probably going to be the most common answer, and they played Old Paul yesterday. I think Florida will probably be the most common answer out of these teams because they just play so well in the postseason. What do you think, Lloyd?
You forget how good all of these teams are in the SEC. But, Florida is going to be one of those teams. Like we said it yesterday.
Yeah.
Every time you look up, I think what's the coach's name? O'Connell?
O'Sullivan.
Has coached there for 18 years. You know how many times he's been to Omaha? This will be his 18th year. You know how many times he's been to Omaha?
How many?
9.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's crazy when, because there's times
dominant program.
When you look back, they don't get no recognition. They get no support. And then every time you look up, you go, damn, Florida's in there again.
Yeah.
LSU's played him twice. He only has 1 ring to his credit, but to go to Omaha 9 times. 9 times? 9
times.
And, you're going more than half the time.
Yeah, I mean, 9 out of 17.
That's as close as you, it's, it's always fun to go to the dance. That's all you're trying to do. It doesn't matter who you go home with.
Right.
Sometimes you go home by yourself. But he's been able to go at least bring home somebody once, but keep giving yourself opportunities. But every time it feels like you look at Florida and you go, not that good. Then you look up, it's like, damn, they're here again?
Well, it's so funny. Regardless of what happens during the regular season.
Right.
Or especially early in it.
Just
it always feels like they make this rise.
Yeah. And he starts laughing about it. You're like, oh, here comes Florida.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you. That's going to be the common answer, and rightfully so.
It should be.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're playing in the championship game of the SEC tournament.
Or look up and they win it.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, there's Florida.
And I mean, they'll match up with Ole Miss today.
Alabama was playing with its food yesterday.
Yes, they were. Missouri. They gave Missouri an inkling of hope at the beginning of the game.
I knew it was close to when Hunter Hall texted me.
I was sitting here watching after you had left, and I was just finishing up some of the YouTube stuff, and so I put it on the TV, and I clicked it on. And I was like, ball game. Like I thought this was just going to be like I was just going to play it in the background just so I could listen and have something to maybe catch my eyes on. But then I started watching the game because Missouri was giving themselves a chance. But Alabama's another team that I think sneaky one is Texas A&M. Now they don't have too much to play for, but if they make a run in the tournament, they could kind of put the cards back on the table. You think? Like if they make a run. They beat Mississippi State. They beat Auburn.
You can't get swept by Missouri.
You think? Like that's just good.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
You can't.
I'm with you.
And they'd have to win the entire thing.
Yeah, no, I just think they could end up making like a.
They had a pool. That's like an LSU season from hell.
Oh my gosh!
Like last year.
Yeah. No, I agree.
If you had gotten to the like you got to the doorstep of you clawed your way back to be able to get back in the house. And then you get hit by a bus.
You just fumble it.
It's like, well, you could have missed that one. And as hard as last year's season was, LSU was able to get themselves in a spot where you were a pitch away. Like you were one pitch away from hosting a super regional. Texas A&M, I don't know if that's on their like doorstep anymore because of – and as far away as it feels right now, they did everything to get back into that conversation. Yes. And you have a defeated Missouri team go sweep you.
Yeah, like you were.
That was death's door.
Yeah, that was it. Like they were in a really good place. To give themselves an opportunity.
If you were a fan of just like it doesn't have to be that team because I can't even say it that way. But like insert school X and you have that and you have Missouri on your schedule. Like
yes,
you should sweep. But if you win 2 out of 3, you still feel like you're in a good spot. You get swept, you're like, well, never mind. Like,
well, yeah, that's what was crazy. Was like they just beat LSU. And so, like, they're feeling great. Like, they had gone on a run. They had the rough weekend against Texas, but they lost all those games by 1 run. And then they have LSU come to town. They win 2 out of 3 there. And the 2 wins they had against LSU were, like, easy wins. Not like they didn't dominate LSU. Like, LSU was fighting in those games. They win those, and so they're going into Missouri like, okay, we take 2 out of 3 sweep here. We're rocking and rolling moving forward. And they dropped the first game, and it's still like, okay, like we still have a chance. Like this is kind of concerning.
I would love to hear the conjecture between LSU's first game against South Carolina versus Texas A&M's first game against Missouri.
Yeah,
like the talking heads.
Right. No, I agree. We should have tuned into Lucci after that game because then the thing is like, okay, we have to win these next 2. We gotta just knock these next 2 out against Missouri.
Heard it a million times.
Then they drop the game 2, and it's like, okay.
Game 3 was like, dude, game 3 was no doubt. Yeah. They're gonna get beat again. They didn't even show up.
The second game 2 was lost. Game 3 was lost. They were lost at the same time.
So sad. Like, oh, there goes everything.
Everything.
Like, what do you even look? And then the softball team gets knocked out. The
number one team in the country.
Oh my God!
Like the jokes, the Texas A&M jokes write themselves.
Yeah, the 12th man had 12 people in the writers' room.
Yeah, Matthew Conkle, Florida. They always have the dudes on that roster just waiting to pop. And then he says, if Aggies win it all, I bet they get the benefit of the doubt still. If they go through and win the SEC tournament, and they're the SEC tournament champion, I mean they have to be considered for regional. Like getting into postseason play, regardless of what the record looks like, right? I mean, if they win the whole thing, like they rock through, they beat Mississippi State, they would beat Auburn, they would beat LSU, and then they would name the other team. Whether it's like Florida, or continue on, and then they'd win the championship game against Tennessee. That would be a pretty impressive run to just.
Well, don't they get an automatic bid?
I don't know if that's how baseball works. They do. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Because I know in basketball, you win the tournament championship, you get automatic bid.
Do you know how? I mean, I'll say it. A little spoiled we are to not have to worry about that.
Right.
As like if you're a fan of LSU, like, well, what if you just go win the tournament? Like LSU, I think Paul won it like 5 times.
Yeah, Carter Peak.
He didn't have to, but you just go there and win it. But like if you're Texas A&M, you're going out there, you're playing for your life. Like you're going to play to make sure you get into the tournament. So yeah, they're going to try and win.
Yeah, that's why I think they could make it. They could make a sneaky run.
And that's what's so funny about the SEC when it comes to this. Like you can look at. I think a lot of people do the basketball thing. Like,
right.
Oh, go get an automatic bid. In baseball, from LSU's perspective, you don't really think of it like that. But then you also think of, like, dude, if you're in the SEC, you're probably good to get into the tournament.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, A&M, the former number 1 team in the country preseason, is playing. They have to play 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
One to get into the next.
No, I mean, that's the thing. Like, they obviously have the talent and the guys to do it because they were the number 1 preseason team. Like, that honor's just not bestowed just for fun. Like, they just didn't do that because you played in the championship game last season. Like, the roster they have is a talented roster. They just play bad baseball.
All of the shakeup, right? Like,
right.
You have your coach leave
at the
like to
altar.
not go that far, and then
be a rival.
Then you have portal. Then you promote a guy from within, first-time head coach, and he retains all the guys that were supposed to go into the portal. It's like, okay, your roster's intact, and then you start off. Then you have an injury, and then you start off abysmal. Then you catch you kind of find your stride. Whenever you were standing 8 count,
right?
Like, I don't know if this guy's going to make it through the year.
Yeah,
and then they swing around and come back like, oh, watch out for A&M. Remember how talented they are. And then Missouri.
It's crazy. Like, on the drop of a hat, everything changed. But they're still right here, and they can make a run in this tournament. They just have to win every single game.
I prefer to see them not, like, get all the talented people out.
Yeah, like, I would love for them to lose, but, like, I don't, like, before they even have to play LSU in the SEC tournament, like, just get out of there. Because that they would have to go through LSU to do so, because that's who they would be lined up against in the quarterfinals if they make it there. Texas A&M versus Mississippi State, like we said, got delayed to today, this morning. Race banned, death, taxes, and Florida in the postseason. Amen. So I'm with you. I think everybody is kind of in agreement that it would be Florida is the day 1 team that we expect to make the deepest run, or wouldn't be surprised if they make the farthest run in the SEC tournament. But keep your eyes out for Texas A&M.
I would say between Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, like Brian Burgess says. Like, I think Tennessee is really...
Well, Tennessee's a day 2 team, but I agree.
Right, no, but I'm just talking about terms of, like, that are actually trying to win the tournament. It feels like it's Tennessee, like you said, Florida, and then, A&M has to.
Has to.
But they're skilled enough to do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Those teams are teams that are looking to, like, try... Like, they're looking to win the whole thing. Like, LSU, Arkansas, Vandy, Texas aren't overly concerned with winning the whole thing because those are the top 4 seeds in the conference. They're not overly like, okay, we need to go win the SEC tournament. Those teams that Lloyd named, Tennessee needs like a PR shift.
Yeah, just because that's a mental thing.
Yeah, like they need something, just like something good to happen.
Over under dugout clearing situations with Tennessee throughout this tournament. 1.5.
Who do they?
Doesn't
pull
matter.
that up? Well, no, it doesn't. But I still want to look at it a tad bit. They would match up with Vandy at some point, possibly, right? No, yeah, in the semifinals, Tennessee, Alabama. I don't think would get contentious. Maybe. It's Tennessee, so probably. Tennessee, Texas. I could see happening if they make it.
1,000%.
If they make it to the semis against Vanderbilt.
Again,
I would go all in on something happening in that game.
2.
Again. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you. That's
over,
a good.
Under a half. Yeah, 1.5,
Yeah, I would go over just because it's Tennessee.
Right. Like Texas, I could see whenever they're like, number 1 team in the country for the majority of the year. Tennessee comes in, they think they are.
They hit a solo home run in the 2nd inning, and this is our house. I run this thing. Get out of here. I'm Tennessee, the standard of college baseball. Like, shut up, dude. Gosh. They really piss me off. They really do. But, yeah, Fawn says 2. That's a good line. Over under 1.5 Tennessee bench clearing brawls are really just like
a thing.
Situations like where they've caused something. But we do have Jay Johnson's sound as he previews the SEC tournament. LSU will play Friday night, like I said, against one of those 3 teams, A&M, Mississippi State, and Auburn. We'll see. That'll get started today. And here is Jay getting the SEC tournament previewed as he met with the media yesterday. We did not make it out there, but we got young Christian to go ahead and clip up some of this press conference. And here's Jay just opening up, giving his thoughts on the new format of the SEC tournament.
We're gonna play to win the games. Like I would never, ever want anybody to think that we weren't ever doing that. Like the tournament, it's a competition. There's a championship. Like, we want to play great. They want to be prepared to, play championship baseball. And I don't think you can go through it as a blow it off exercise or think of it that way. We will not do that. With that being said, I've used this reference before. In 2023, I took Paul Skeens out against Arkansas with the bases loaded because he was at 31 pitches in the inning. I'm never taking Paul Skeens out of the game with the bases loaded, ever, except in this scenario where, there was a good chance he was going to pitch the following Friday, and to win the national championship or to go to Omaha or to win a regional, you need Paul Skeens healthy and at his best. So if something along those lines comes up, you may see it maybe deviate from what we would do, but right now it's kind of
the mad scientist himself, Jay Johnson. Are you shaking your head over there?
Just finish the clip, brother.
Hey.
Hey, we got.
At least we got something. But yeah, no, you know how Christian likes to operate. Here is
I do not.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Here's Jay talking about the LSU pitching entering the postseason, which is one of the hot topics for the Tigers because that's really been the highlight of the season, I would say, so far. For LSU, the highlight of the 2025 season, regular season, is the pitching. Starting pitching, specifically.
Pitching. God. I mean, it wouldn't be fair, but I do sometimes go back and look at the staff and think to myself, what if they had Griffin Herring? Because that's the big surprise, right? Going into I don't think people expected him to sign.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people thought the weekend starter argument was going to win him over.
Old school baseball argument.
It was going to win him over. But he got drafted by the Yankees, and they said, hey, this is your signing bonus, and it was a number that he couldn't shake his head to.
That he really liked.
And
he's dealing.
He is shoving.
And that would
I think he had a .6 ERA.
I can't say I'm glad, but then what would people talk about?
Yeah, he obviously made the right decision. To get there.
Jury's out on that because if he comes back, look at Anthony Ianson.
Well, yeah. No, I agree. But, I mean,
he wasn't on draft, top. I wouldn't say he was in the top 30 picks.
Yeah, but
now
he's there, and he got the signing bonus that he wants, and he's shoving. He
could have gotten more.
He could have gotten more, that's for sure. But he also could have gotten.
And the Yankees notorious for being awful at calling up prospects.
Right.
But I really do hope Griffin Herring does well, but I also wish he was on the team.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hunter Hall, Brady Neal hit a ball 550 feet yesterday.
Yeah, congratulate. Cool, whatever. Enjoy my sloppy seconds, brother.
That was real emotion. That felt real when he said it.
Because I saw it happen live.
Yeah, he did crush that baseball.
Yeah, he did it against LSU, too.
Yeah, he did.
But
speaking of crush the baseball, did you see that Dylan Cruz hit yesterday? Sorry to interrupt.
No, I mean, what was I going to say?
It was a 3-0 green light. It was 3-0 count. They throw him a meatball, and he just
don't do that.
Crushes it, dude.
Be a winner, Bobby. That means that
it's the purest swing I've ever seen in my life.
He's got one of the best baseball swings of all time.
Just sitting and watching it.
It's so compact, and it's so you can't do that. He will.
I remember the first time I saw him swing as a freshman, I was like, timeout.
Yeah.
What was that?
I can't stand up.
Does anybody have a pillow?
Curtain call. Gonna look like George H.W. Bush. Yeah, the ball.
God, that's the first pitch. There's your first pitch.
First pitch to my last pitch. There's a deep drop by Cruz.
God, I mean, he crushed that baseball. But yeah, here's Jay.
Oh God.
Back to the Jay Johnson press conference yesterday. Here's him talking about the pitching entering the postseason.
It would all have been, a week since all of them have thrown. So I think we're set up pretty good. I haven't made a final determination of who we're going to throw Friday yet, but I feel good about them being rested in this time of year. I think that matters. I think as much for the bullpen as the starters. Like Cade and Anthony have pitched deep into the game just about every week, and it's because they've been good, been great, not good. And then some of those key relievers, performed time and time again for the better part of the year, so it makes you want to keep going to them. So I think having 6 days off right now is a great thing. Like this format, finishing high in the league standings as we did, really benefits our team right now. And maybe it shows up this week, maybe it doesn't. I think going forward, having the 6 days off will really benefit us.
Yeah, I mean the structure, like you said, definitely benefits LSU. They get their normal schedule. Everybody gets to rest. Everybody gets to get ready. You'll see the regularly scheduled programming. Go out there, play baseball with your guy. Cade Anderson got to rest, and he'll be. My assumption will be that'll be the guy pitching on Friday night. I would be surprised if Jay breaks away from the regularly scheduled game one guy Friday night. I don't think that's really up for discussion because you haven't seen Jay do it often.
Yeah, and I think it's part of, stick to your routine, stick to your schedule, and also the first part of the clip. We're trying to win.
Yeah.
That's never changed.
Right. Yeah, this isn't like the in-game interviews where he has to do them. Yeah, you have to go to the SEC tournament, but you're not there just to
fucking slide.
Amen.
Not me.
But and then here's Jay talking about the SEC tournament and their mindset and how they play it.
I think it can matter. I think playing time is your best coach. Experience is your best developer. And, and those guys that you mentioned, Jaden has thrown the ball really well lately, and guy I have a lot of faith in. So if you could get him on a mound, that would be very beneficial against whoever we're playing is capable of winning the national championship in this tournament. I mean, I think there's 10 teams, that are probably capable of winning it all that we've played, or that are in this particular tournament, a couple that we haven't played. So what a great experience, this is who you're going to have to beat ultimately, as recent history shows us. So any rep you could get for any hitter or pitcher, I think is valuable. I think, everybody comes in a kind of a different situation, but there'll be no blowing it off or just, hey, let's try something. There'll be a design around winning the games while preparing our team to be set up correctly.
Tell you what, Jay looks healthy. You know what I mean? He doesn't look overly as stressed out as we were talking about the man is. As much weight as he puts on himself, he looks comfortable.
I wouldn't say stressed. It's just he has a high expectation of himself and what to do, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself. Yeah. And I guess that is stress, But he puts a lot on himself to be able to make the right moves at the right time. But yeah, you can. We were kind of talking about it during the clip where it's you can kind of tell sometimes whether it's weathered, and you could go back to Jay last year where it's he knew he had a talented team, but I don't think that he thought that it would take something special for them to win it. That's probably where they are this year. It feels I'm not going to compare it to 2023, but he knows what a winning baseball team looks like in terms of what it takes to get to Omaha and win there. He was one pitch away with Arizona, and then he did the damn thing in 2023. So it's there's a different feel around it to where he's kind of and don't – this is his favorite time of the year.
Oh, yeah.
He almost gets through – as much as he stresses and pokes and prods in the regular season, it's a different
yes.
It's go time, boys.
Listen, as much as
it came out and
not that the regular season doesn't matter.
Them.
Yeah,
that the regular season doesn't matter. That's a different version of a person.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing.
That's what you want.
Just playoff ball is so different, and you can tell it's everything matters, but it always does. And he does. He's I treat every game like a playoff game, but there's something about when it's actually here.
Starts.
You ratchet it up.
Yeah, no, definitely. Austin Smith in the chat. Chase Shore's going to shine in the postseason. I think if Chase Shore shines in the postseason, that brings LSU to the level that would have everybody feeling extremely confident in their postseason play. right? Like if Chase Shores steps up and is the Chase Shores that he was expected to be preseason,
Yeah.
then LSU's like, okay, we've got Shores, Einson, Anderson, feeling really good.
Do you expect Shorts to, when you say step up, like as a third starter? Because I don't. I think they're going to keep
No,
him.
I don't think so either. But I think if he steps up in that, you can have.
You're going to ask a lot of him because he's put that on, like now.
He's put it on himself. He's done it enough that, like,
well,
now.
you're looking for a guy, and he's like, I can do it twice.
Yeah. Because now you have Cowan, right, that you're still confident in. You have Evans back in the bullpen, and I think he's there for good. I don't think they're going to play with the Game 3 Evans starting anymore. Like, he has his role for this team. I think next season, obviously, he's going to be weekend starter.
Yeah.
This team right now, he's got his role. So if you go Cowan, Evans, and then you add Shores into that mix where he's going to be this stopper, this bring him in the game relief guy, and just shove, especially on a Sunday.
Can't fake 100.
No, 101 consistently. Especially on a Sunday where you're going to start a guy like Jaden Newt. Like, even if you go, say it's Anderson to Shores on Friday, and then you have Cowan on Saturday, Game 2. Well, then you've got Newt and Evans, Game 3.
And that is a conversation that's worth looking at because it's been Anderson to Cowan.
Right.
And now
all year.
Yeah. Now do you kind of
mix it up?
Maneuver that around to where you can use a guy like Chase Shores twice.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to go Saturday, Sunday, but you can go Friday, Sunday. And you've seen that happen. And Cowan hasn't been somebody that you've used multiple times a ton, but he's pitched in every high leverage situation that you've ever had this year. And so it would be interesting to see if they kind of tinker a little bit to see, well, if this is the best time to get Shores in for 2 times, like whether it be 15 pitches and then 40 pitches. But I could see the world. Yeah, I haven't thought of it like that just because, and it could give Cowan just like a kind of change of like
change the
mental
pace.
reset.
Yes.
And I don't think he's like been.
No, he hasn't been bad.
2 out of the last 3 games he's been given up. Like he's been the worst version you've seen of him, but that's only because you've seen nails.
Well, I also think he's being like game planned for. Like they're like, okay, Cowan comes in the game. He's got these 2 pitches. He's got a fastball that's sitting at 90, 91.
95 he's hit.
Right. But more consistently than not, it's lower 90s. Like, it's not anything that's blowing you away. But he's very meticulous in how he uses it. And he's got the changeup, which is one of the best go-to pitches in the country. But the mindset has been kind of sit on the changeup and see if he throws you a meatball and that he hangs the changeup or time up the fastball. And they did a really good job. What was it? A&M did, and then South Carolina last Thursday did the same. So change of pace could be good. And also it could be a situation of you go Anderson gets through 6 innings. You have Shores for the 7th and the 8th, and then you have Cowan for the 9th. Or so, like it gives them kind of ways to really break it out. And
they wouldn't do that. Cowan is too much of an innings eater to just like I know what you're saying, like the just probability wise, but like it would be like Shores in the 9th. You know, like you want to be able to use Cowan because he's a guy that's been a starting pitcher. Like you wouldn't burn him for 15 pitches and then try to get him to go again. Maybe that would be in Game 3, but it just feels like that hasn't been his role yet. And I could be wrong.
To me, it's kind of like a reset situation where it's like, okay, the last 2 out of the last 3 times you've gone out, it's looked like this. Mm-hmm. Or 3 of the last 4 times because it was Game 1, Game 3 against A&M, and then Game 1 against South Carolina.
And I hate to say, like, give him a bigger lead because it's a 2-run lead against South Carolina. Like, you should be able to put that one away. And that's what I think where there's a little bit to look at to be like a little arm fatigue.
Yeah.
Just situational baseball at that point. Like, yeah, there's like, not the question mark I'd like to have.
Of course not.
But I don't think it's a question mark.
Yeah.
It's like
fair enough.
Could be a smiley face. Could be anything. We're not all the way at.
Not all the way there yet.
Yeah.
Not all the way there. Andrew Messina Cowan needs to flip his curve or slider over some more just to show he has a third pitch.
Yeah, he's been relying on the change. Like that's really like, but when it's good, it's great. Like it's an invisible. People can't. Like, it just disappears underneath your bat and you can't hit it. And yeah, you could say like, it's not like people just found out a week ago that Callen's throwing a changeup. He's been throwing it all year.
Right.
It's just it hasn't been having that induced vertical break that you'd like to see that has made him successful, because like, he's not going to blow your doors off. Like it's not Jacob Myers coming in and throwing 101 where it's like, gee, I don't know where it's going, nuke loose, but it's like, brother, the number one's coming. With what you have in Callen, it's like I've seen him touch 93, 94, 95, and that's been like big time spots. He sits 91, 93. And then but this one,
yeah.
And you just like, fuck, I can't hit it.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
But if it's not moving that way, if you don't have 100 in the tank, you're going to get touched up.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Like I said, we'll have Jacques Doucet join us at 8 a.m. this morning to update us all on a lot of things going on around LSU.
Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll bring that up. He's been watching it. But yeah, I mean, the William Tate news, obviously something that we can discuss with JD. He's been all over the softball stuff as their season came to an end last weekend. And LSU's decided to stick with Beth Torina. And then Bergeron hits the portal yesterday. We'll get his thoughts and insight there. Ben Brakel, who do we think is our postseason starter outside of Anderson and Ianson? You know who mine is, who I think it is. It's Jaden Newt.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think Shores is in the conversation. I just think now that they found, and Lloyd said it really well yesterday, found a lane that he's excelled in, keep him there, don't mess with it. He's done well coming out of the pen consistently the last couple of times out. Keep him there. You've seen Newt have good starts in the midweek. He came in the game against South Carolina, game 1, bases loaded, no outs, got you out of the jam. I think Newt will be the game 3 guy, the third starter outside of Anderson and Ianson, and I think he'll do a good job there. So that's my thought process. Carson in the chat, I think we should trust Newt. Placements have been nice. Yeah, no, I mean, he's done a really good job, and I think that's who they would give the nod to. I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously Schmidt is a name that lives in Lloyd's head forever, and he thinks about it 24/7.
Literally just thinking about it.
Like if it was William Schmidt, you would feel confident, like extremely confident if he stepped up and stepped his play up. You just haven't seen it yet, and so he is a question mark that could end up being an exclamation point. Brian Burgess, you don't think Shores has worked his way back into the third starter? 100%. Like I just said, I think he's in the conversation. Like when we came away, when we were talking about it earlier in the week, it's between Shores and Newt, in my opinion. I just think Shores has done such a good job finding success coming out of the bullpen.
You have to understand that, like, some of those
Keep
things,
him there.
like, that's real.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're pitching great. Let's change what you're doing and go pitch in a different,
Right.
like, capacity. Like, sometimes you sit and find yourself in a role where you're like, don't mess with it.
Don't mess with it.
I'm hitting from this side of the tee box.
Well, it's 2021 LSU men's basketball, Tari Eason coming off the bench.
Right.
Like, oh, Tari Eason's your best player. Why don't you start him? Well, because he's playing well when he gets to see the game happen in front of him.
We win when this happens.
Yeah, like right now, let Shores continue to be a guy out of the bullpen. Andrew Messina Schmidt not being serviceable the last half of the season has hurt. It would be huge if he was able to flip the switch and be ready to go.
Let me use
He is, for sure.
Thatch.
God, Thatch. But
He did it.
he did. He made it happen. Like,
And William Schmidt could certainly be in that same boat. Like, I think he'll have his time in the sky at LSU. Like,
1,000%.
like what you're seeing from Kate Anderson this year, that's going to be William Schmidt next year.
Yeah.
Like, he'll settle in and he'll be able to figure it out. But at this point, the Chicago Cubs movie Rookie of the Year? You got to do it from the have to. Mm-hmm. What's the have to? Like, you're about to find out. Need it from the have to.
That's where he's at.
It's going to come down to a couple of moments. Like, this is the have to.
Like, you have to make it happen.
You throw 1,000 miles an hour. You have, like, there's no reason for you not to succeed. Do it from the have to, not the can to.
Yeah.
The have to.
Not 100. Like, I mean, the
That's
more I
baseball
think
and
about
all.
it, yes. Like, Willie, this is why you come to LSU, right? Like, you.
It's either gonna happen or it's not. But I'll put my cards down with him. Like, I'll give him that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I will be on the edge of my seat when he goes out there.
Well, I pissed out my leg probably.
Yeah.
But I would.
I'll do it so he doesn't.
Right.
Piss dog.
Or he could go out there and throw 3 straight pitches at 100 miles an hour and say, "See ya," and you're like, "That's my guy." Told you.
Sold.
Or it could be 3-0, and you're like, "Now here comes the piss."
Yeah. Everywhere. But we will be back in just a handful of minutes with Jacques Doucet, the sports director over at WFB 9, joining us to talk all things LSU right after this.
Is there any debate on going later than tomorrow, or a lot
No.
of days just to be there, right?
Yeah, it's the bus thing. You know, we don't charter over there, so going on the bus, you know, the old saying, "Get the bus off of you" type deal. So, and whenever we bus, we go a little earlier than we normally do, and then we'll practice at noon on Thursday, and then we'll have all day Friday. It'll be like a road game on a Friday where we get the guys up, do some early hitting and stuff, and go on Friday night.
Where do you practice Thursday?
Hoover High. Yeah, Hoover High at noon.
You always feel better, honestly. What do you think about the new format? Like it, hate it?
Again, like, I don't obsess over things I can't control. I did vote to keep the double elimination format. It was me, Tim Corbin, and I think Rob Vaughn were the three that decided, or wanted to stay in the double elimination. Like, I want to play. Like, I want the players to play. It gives you the opportunity. But I guess for 8 of the teams in the previous, it was single elimination. You just, you know, you could play your way into double elimination. So I've tried to kind of look at it that way. Like, it's not that much different. Yeah, I haven't given it much thought. I think there's some decent reasoning behind the single elimination format, which to me, the NCAA tournament is the thing that matters. And so with that, I think probably for the league, it's, you know, there's an argument for it being the best. I just personally liked it how it was.
Where do you feel you guys are top 8 wise heading into this, and how do you want to approach it?
Well, I think we're for sure a top 8 national seed. I'm not on the committee though, so and there's smart people on there that look at this thing hard and make good decisions. But I don't have a doubt in my mind that we're a top 8, you know, national seed, and have earned that. And you know, when I mentioned, you know, throughout the year, because we were very consistent throughout the year, we're playing our way into a good spot. That's what I was referring to. And you know, I think the consistency of the team is something that in our league is hard to do. We were 10-5 in the first half, 9-6 in the second half, and that 9-6 was a really good 9-6 because there was 4 teams in a row that are in contention to host regionals.
Since you feel like you're top 8, does that change your pitching decisions?
You know, it will have been, you know, a week since all of them have thrown, so I think we're set up pretty good. I haven't made a final determination of who we're going to throw Friday yet, but I feel good about them being rested in this time of year. I think that matters. I think as much for the bullpen as the starters. You know, like Cade and Anthony have pitched deep into the game just about every week, and it's because they've been good, been great, not good. And then some of those key relievers, you know, performed time and time again for the better part of the year, so it makes you want to keep going to them. So I think having 6 days off right now is a great thing. Like the format, finishing high in the league standings as we did, really benefits our team right now. And maybe it shows up this week, maybe it doesn't. I think going forward, having the 6 days off will really benefit us.
Back up in my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce the back like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash, I'm never gonna sit. Had to be patient.
All right, welcome back here. Hour number 2 officially underway here on this Wednesday morning, rolling right through the week. And we've got our guy that joins us every single Wednesday, the legend himself. the sports director over at WFB9, Jacques Doucet. JD, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. You give me a lot of credit. Every single Wednesday, I've missed a few. I've been slacking.
That's how much Young Bucks do it. If you do it two albums in a row, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Well, great to be with you. Looking fantastic. I am. Look at that. All right.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful.
Never vain.
That was sarcasm.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get it started right here. LSU softball. Interesting. We haven't talked it too much, but it's been all over the news wire the last couple of days after the loss this weekend in their own regionals, Southeastern. You put out the news the other morning that LSU was going to stick with Beth Torina, and then the news breaks yesterday that Sydney Bergeron has hit the transfer portal. What's the current situation with LSU softball right now and the current outlook?
Well, it's like I put in a tweet. The LSU administration certainly is not happy about what happened this past weekend in Tiger Park. One thing they don't really like over there is losing to in-state teams, especially in positions like that. I think Paul Maneri will tell you a story of when LSU baseball played UO Lafayette in a super regional, and somebody pretty high up on the LSU administration told him, you can't lose to these guys, right? You cannot lose. And, Maneri's like, oh, thanks a lot. Just more pressure I need, that weekend. So, but LSU did come through and beat the Cajuns. But, this is 2 out of 3 years in which LSU softball has lost 2 games in their home park to an in-state team. The Raging Cajuns came in, I guess it's now 3 seasons ago. And LSU only needed 1 win to get out of the regional, and they lost 2 in a row to the Cajuns. So when you take a look at the resources that LSU has compared to a Southeastern, the budget, the facilities, all that, when something like that happens, they're not happy about it. So, but I also feel like they felt like what LSU has coming back, their recruiting class and so forth, that it was not the right time to make a move. LSU does not have as much money, I think, as some people think. I think some people think that LSU is just swimming in cash out there, and I don't think that's the case either. And I don't think that they really feel like paying off a softball coach $1.5 million or whatever she's owed to move forward. And look, and she's been there for 14 years. I think that's a discussion point. Has it gotten stale? Is it not moving forward? She's won 70% of her games. In the first 6 years, she went to the College World Series 4 times. They went 3 times in a row. I think if they could have somehow beat Stanford after beating them in the first game of the Super Regional and gone to Oklahoma City last year, that would have alleviated a lot of this. Gotten that we haven't been to Oklahoma City since 2017 off their back, but it didn't happen. And so, the news about Berzon, I mean, that really surprised me. I mean, it just seems like in the press conferences, Torina has always, spoke so highly of Sydney Berzon, and, they try to create a family atmosphere out there where they make it clear that the coaches really care about the players. And I thought Berzon was at the top of that list, really. And had pitched there 3 years, had been an All-American. And, there's been some discussion about her demeanor, maybe her attitude, the way she pitched the final month or so of the season. Has something already been set up? Is she going somewhere else already that she knows of? I don't know the answers to those questions, but certainly I think it's something that coaches are now having to deal with. Not only do they have to worry about the season ends, I've got to re-recruit my roster. I think they've got to worry about in season now. Or people or vultures coming around and saying, setting up deals for to take the players, and have them go to another school. So it was an ugly weekend, didn't go well. Beth is a very good person. She's always been great to work with. I know some people sometimes feel she's a little short on the answers and maybe a little terse at times. I think that's sometimes her defense mechanism for not wanting to throw players under the bus. Certainly going back to Berzon, she gave one of these in-game interviews, but got the headset on and like just gave this really emotional kind of rant about Berzon, because I think she had heard one of the broadcasters in the booth had criticized her. So, Sydney had also been dealing with injuries. We heard she was hurt all season long and was fighting through it to an extent, but did not come through in the clutch when they called upon her to close out some games and to move forward. So just a rough weekend, and I know no one feels worse about it than Beth Torino.
Definitely. And moving forward to the, kind of flipping the page to LSU overall, the announcement was made a couple of days ago. It broke that William Tate had resigned and was headed to Rutgers to take the same position. So now LSU is on the search for a new president. How big of a factor did that play in the athletics aspect of it? Because obviously Tate was a big supporter of LSU athletics, and now they will be searching for a new president. So how, in your opinion, would that play out for the Tigers and the university?
Well, the first person I think about is Kim Mulkey in women's basketball.
Right.
I had never seen the school president's picture put up as large as it was anywhere in an athletic facility like it is the women's basketball indoor practice. Indoor, they don't practice outdoors. What am I talking about? In the practice facility, he's up there big next to Mulkey, and I think as soon as Kim got the job, they became very tight, and certainly the runs that women's basketball has made in the postseason, he was always there, and they win the national title. My first really big memories of Tate, it seemed like, at least in my opinion, I mean, other people might disagree, but it seemed like he was just kind of quiet in the background for a large part. I know he was up front when LSU hired Brian Kelly and had the win bar and everything. But when LSU women's basketball won the national title and they had the celebration back at the PMAC, he kind of stole the show. He got up there and was all animated and telling jokes and really was highly entertaining. I'm like, oh, this guy's really coming out of his shell today. And then it was funny, I think, obviously 2 months later, LSU's winning the national championship in baseball in Omaha, Nebraska. We're standing on the field, and he gave me, I think, perhaps one of the most memorable sound bites there. And when he said, we're going to have more ships than the U.S. Navy.
I love that.
LSU was on that national championship run there when they had 2 national titles in 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was there, and then gymnastics won another one the following year. So it seemed he was always a big sports fan, and I enjoyed the times I would see him and chat with him. I didn't know him all that well. His wife obviously was a big part of the women's basketball program. She was the team chaplain and would sit on the bench for all the games. And so what does it mean overall for LSU? I'm not sure. You'd always hear these rumblings that Jeff Landry didn't like William Tate and was going to push him out and this and that. I guess it didn't happen. He's going to Rutgers. I didn't realize how many students Rutgers has. I think I read they've got like 70,000 students over 3 campuses, so it's a huge school. Tony Soprano, big supporter of Rutgers as well. But we'll see what happens there, and we'll see who replaces him. I read a little bit of Scott Rabolet's article this morning, kind of speculating about the future of Scott Woodward at LSU as well. Woodward has obviously hired 2 national championship coaches, and Jay Johnson and Kim Mulkey. The football hire is always the biggest hire, right? And Brian Kelly, the jury is out there. And then there's obviously been a lot of discussion about the handling of Will Wade and could that have been done differently. So, his legacy and the job he's done will be decided by other people. But, certainly presidents in the past, as Scott documented in his article, have played a part in LSU athletics going back to, Les Miles was supposed to be fired at the end of 2015, and F. King stepped in and prevented that from happening. So we'll see what happens with Scott Woodward moving forward, and we'll see who replaces President Tate.
And a riveting offensive performance by Les Miles in his last game against Texas A&M.
Yeah, I think it was the late great Ed Daniels who asked, "Coach, are you going to change the offense and or overhaul maybe?" And Les Miles said, "Yeah, overhaul, huh? What does that include? Leonard Fournette, the engine? The engine's pretty stinking good." They talk about Leonard Fournette and tried to run him 85 times a game, and Leonard was very talented. But I think they won that game 20-7, and then they went and they took on Patrick Mahomes and Texas Tech in the Texas Bowl and beat them pretty soundly. And I think Leonard was a man amongst boys that game. I think he scored four or five touchdowns and had over 2,000 yards rushing if you include the bowl game for the year. But we all remember the season opener in 2016. Everything was perfect but the game. We're up there in beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin. The weather's fantastic. The cheese curds, the atmosphere. You're in legendary football heaven. And the first two plays they run toss-died to Leonard Fournette, and it was like, white stick. Here I go again, baby. This is what it's going to be.
Play the hits.
Less is more. I can still hear the chants ringing in my ears from that game. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, 2-2 start, and then I'm standing there right on the field in Auburn where it appears that Danny Etling threw it to Chark right at the end of the game. LSU thinks they've won, beating Auburn at the gun. I think they called that the buyout bowl because Gus Malzahn, he was on the hot seat. Les Miles was on the hot seat, and they wave it off, say no, the play was too late. And then I think we're at the Shed Barbecue driving home from Auburn the next day, and Ross Dellinger breaks the story that Les Miles has been fired. I was like, well, this is not going to be a quiet Sunday. So we had to hurry back, and they had press conferences that night. I think Leonard Fournette spoke, Tre'Davious White spoke. I remember my boy Foster Morrow. We were all standing outside football ops, and he drove by and he yelled out, "Ross, you don't know anything, Ross. You don't know anything."
But was there a more? Okay, go ahead.
No, then I remember Cam Cameron and his son walking out of the building, and the next day they trotted up Ed Ogeron, and he was on time, and it was this big shot of Red Bull to the program. It was like, oh man, this is gonna be fun. Coach O's gonna coach the team. They'll find someone else at the end, but Coach O will coach the team, and this will be a lot of fun. And sure enough, we know what happened after that. So,
is there a more poetic ending than Les's final game at LSU? Finally not get one.
Sometimes, first impressions are off the mark, but I was at Les Miles' first game, which I guess is going to be 20 years ago this fall. The anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, 2005. They're supposed to play North Texas at home. That doesn't happen. They're supposed to play Arizona State at home. They moved that game to the desert. I get out there, and this guy, his team, fakes a punt out of their own end zone. Chris Jackson, I think, was the punter. He threw a pass to Ronnie Prude, of all people, for a 10-yard gain. You could have never imagined in a million years Nick Saban faking a punt out of his own end zone. They did that. They were down 20-7, dead in the water, and scored two special teams touchdowns, bang, bang. I think it was there was a guy named Mario Stevenson, wore number 6. I think he collected a blocked field goal, ran it in. I want to say Hester or Stelz. Hester hit the punter. They called it a block punt, but I don't think the guy ever even got the punt off the ground. He got hit. He dropped the ball. They ran it in. They scored 2 touchdowns, and then they're losing. And then Jamarcus Russell on a 4th and 10, throws a heave to the end zone, and I'm standing right there as my distant cousin Early Doucette makes the catch for the game-winning score, and I swear he rolled over the ball. And I'm like, I don't think he caught it. And I think they're going to look at this and blow it off. But sure enough, they kept it. And That's how the Les Miles era started. This wild, crazy ass game, and that was just a sign of things to come. I remember talking to Steve Schneider on the phone. He's like, the post game show, these people are livid. They gave up like 450 passing, and one on this crazy play. The punt out of the end zone, all this stuff, and then sure enough, the first home game against Tennessee, we know what happened there. But then, to your point, which you asked me 15 minutes ago, the final game of Les Miles' era, they lose because, finally the horseshoe fell out, right? Finally the rabbit's foot, because, I enjoyed covering Les Miles. He won a lot of games. He had some very successful teams, but obviously there were things going on during his tenure. I'm like, how is this happening?
It's like a fever dream.
Yeah. And then you'd be critical about it, and the LSU brass would be like, what are you talking about? There's nothing crazy about that. There's nothing crazy about being in Florida, faking a field goal. The guy throws it over his shoulder, and an oval ball bounces straight up in the air to a guy who runs it for a first down. That's completely normal. What are you talking about?
It's a forward pass.
What's that?
It was a forward pass. That's like one of the impetus of review. You're trying to draw. You had to get your protractor out to see if it was across the line or not. It's like, well, this is less. And just kind of then we'll throw it 3 straight times to Tolliver and see what happens.
Yeah, well, I remember Urban Meyer. He was the coach of Florida, and it seemed like they waited for 15 minutes they reviewed it, they took a look, they drew the line, they heard the ball bounce, all that stuff. And the week before, of course, was the Tennessee game, which they had no business winning. But Tennessee had, 12 guys on the field, 13 guys, whatever it was.
Shout out T-Bob.
Yeah, well, that's the famous Sam Montgomery's hurt, the post-game press conference. And I was a little too hopped up on the Gatorade at the press conference and the post game. Not my greatest moments after that game. But anyway, there was all sorts of crazy stuff happening, and eventually the luck ran out for Les Miles. I mean the North Carolina season opener 2010. LSU's got all their guys. North Carolina's got the whole team suspended because of academics or something, and I think North Carolina was on the 1-yard line to try to win the game at the end, and I think there was pass interference, and it didn't get called, and LSU hung on to win, and it was always that deal. Not always, but a lot of times that you were like, you won the game, but you were just exhausted and didn't feel great about what happened out there. So, it's too bad 2011 that went the way it went, that they couldn't win the national title that year, because that was an amazing team that he coached.
Jay Johnson, speaking of, sorry, I got a little choked up thinking about Les Miles and his tenure.
Yeah, you were thinking about, what was it, January the 9th, 2012.
Yes, I do. That was, I vividly remember that, and because I cried, I was, how old was I? 10 years old? No, 9 years old watching that game, and I cried on the couch after they lost 21-0.
I still got a buddy who says Les Miles owes him $3,000 or whatever he's spent on hotel tickets and all that stuff. I remember the Times-Picayune the next day. It was a drizzly, rainy day the next day, and the headline, all block at the top: LSU loses. That was just the head. LSU loses, and it was a shot of.
Send it to print.
Huh?
Send it to print.
Send it to print. That's it. We don't need no fancy headline, but. After this dream season comes crashing down, and there was just the guys walking off the field with their head down. So, I debated that night. I said, "Is this one of the darkest days in LSU athletics?" And people disagreed with me because they said, "No, it's a national championship, and they made it that far, and this and that." I'm just like, I don't know, man. This is
terrible.
Really, really rough. And Alabama, of all people, getting a second chance after you beat them in their stadium. That's a hard pill to swallow. But anyway, Jay Johnson.
Yes. There you go. Speaking of LSU in the postseason, the Tigers win 2 out of 3 against South Carolina after dropping the first game, which got all of the discourse around LSU baseball rocking and rolling. But they will get their postseason started Friday night. Hopefully, what are your expectations for LSU baseball? And obviously your take on last weekend's series as they close out. Are the Tigers a lock for a top 8 seed?
Well, we know that rankings and RPI are two different things. I know that, Vets Arena and the softball program, they felt like, despite the fact they didn't win a whole lot, that they had an RPI in the top 5 the last 2 years and didn't get rewarded by it, and got, maybe the best number 4 seed in the country, Southeastern, gets sent over, and then Nebraska as well, which LSU never played. But LSU baseball is number 1 in all the polls. Their RPI, if I'm not mistaken, I checked the last night, is 8. So to me, that would seem like basically a lock to be a host. We know about LSU's tradition at LSU Stadium in the postseason. LSU's got a double bye in this SEC tournament. They won't play until tomorrow at 6:30. It's a new single elimination format. It'd be very interesting to see what the attendance is like for that with a single elimination format. I guess if LSU wins, I think the fans will really start showing up over the weekend if they make it to the conference championship game. It's always a great event. They do a great job at Hoover putting that thing on, but LSU with 19 conference wins, they're well over 40. This is not the situation LSU was in a year ago, where they won 4 games in a row at the tournament and reached the SEC tournament finals against Tennessee, and then obviously still got sent on the road to Chapel Hill. They'll be hosting a regional for sure. And I think that they're probably pretty safe to be a top 8 national seed. I can't see them losing 1 game on Friday and people, yanking that from them. But, crazier things have happened. But the reason we talk so much about it is the fact that, to my knowledge, I don't think LSU, I think that Texas A&M, when they went there in 1989, right? That was the team. Texas A&M had this team that was were they 45-5 or something? They were like a shoe-in to go to Omaha, and LSU beat them twice on their own field to go to Omaha. But outside of that, I don't think LSU has ever gone on the road to go to Omaha since then. I could be mistaken, but every time LSU's won the national title, certainly in the super regional format, Skip Bertman was 1-2 in the super regional format. They lost at Alabama. They lost at Tulane. And LSU, when they've gone on the road for regionals in recent years, which we know Jay Johnson went to Southern Miss Hattiesburg his first year, went to Chapel Hill last year, they did not get out of the regional. So it's that important. And I think that they'll be in good shape when Memorial Day rolls around coming up here on Monday. The brackets get released at 11 a.m. Obviously a nauseating game to start the series at South Carolina, losing on Thursday. Had opportunities to separate the score, didn't. Cowan just wasn't very good on the mound, but then LSU bounces back to win the next 2 pretty convincingly. A lot of discussion. I got a great chat with Ryan Terrio that just went up. He came in yesterday. We talked about the team a bit. He feels like Daniel Dickinson's going to be a 10-year Major League pro. He talks about Curiel is a guy that reminds him of the early days of Bregman and Dylan Cruz, that, he's that type of player, special player. And it feels pretty good about the way Chase Shores has been pitching and in case of Evans. So, the regional format, you got to win 3. Instead of super regional, you got to win 2. So you need more pitching perhaps in a regional, and God forbid you do not want to go into a loser's bracket and have to, use pitching in that regard. So it's funny, you play all these games, but at the end of the day, what are you remembered by? Team went to Omaha, team didn't go to Omaha. And kind of an interesting spot for Jay Johnson, because in his first year, the team he inherited had a lot of holes on it, had a lot of talent, but still had holes. It was kind of a blend of that. They get beaten a regional second year, we know. Team of a lifetime wins the national championship, and then last year they get beaten a regional. So you don't want to say 3 out of your first 4 years you didn't go to Omaha. So I think it's a real interesting postseason for him coming up. But obviously, I think he's going to be here for a very long time and have a very successful career at LSU. I mean, Terrio told me yesterday he's the best coach in the country. LSU can't do any better than the guy they've got right now. But we know it's all defined by what you do in June, and that's coming up.
Amen. Well, we appreciate your time this morning. What do you have going on over there?
Let's see. Today, the team LSU baseball will be leaving Alec Box today. I think it's around noon or something like that to go to Hoover. John Eads will be on his way to cover the team there as well. I think they have a practice at Hoover High tomorrow that he'll be covering. And I think Southern is in the SWAC tournament, baseball tournament coming up. They'll have to, obviously, as usual, try to win that thing to get into the NCAA tournament. And, some other things going on. It's somewhat quiet right now. It's kind of bat and ball season for the most part, but certainly we won't be sitting down and doing nothing. We'll be trying to churn out as much content as we can.
Well, thank you for your time this morning and the trip down memory lane. We will talk again soon.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Thank you. There he is, Jacques Doucet, joining us like he does on every Wednesday. We will take a quick break, reset, and then we will have Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football join us to talk about the Saints right after this.
Nick, it's the one sport that hasn't changed a lot in that regard. What happens is people change, the mentally part of the game. And so if you add or attach anything to what you need to do with your job, you're just going to complicate it and make it harder in a game that's already hard to be successful. So for us, that's where the thought of the 56-game playoff comes in. Like, because we approach it the way that we do, you don't have to change anything this time of year as far as an approach. So to your point, this team should have a lot of success, playing game ones, because of great pitcher, usually a rested bullpen. I don't know where we sit nationally defensively, but I know we didn't make any errors this weekend and have been very good. I know in SEC play, I believe we were very good handling the baseball. And then offensively, you could score in a lot of ways. We had some homers this weekend, had a bunch of stolen bases, a couple safety squeezes, and we're getting better. And I've talked a lot about improvement this time of year. So I think they should play with a ton of confidence, and that's what we'll try to coach them towards.
Yeah, it's kind of like offensive linemen. We're not talking about them; they're doing their job. You mentioned the defense outside of one game where you guys mix things up. You guys have been remarkable. Should we be talking about that more?
I think so. I'm not trading our catcher, second baseman, shortstop, and center fielder for anybody on the defensive side of the ball. And I was a little surprised none of them were on the all-defensive team. I thought that was kind of strange, actually. One of them got beat out by a guy that's DH for half a month, or a month, a month and a half. 5 weeks, half the SEC season is what I was talking about. So, but they have done a great job. Michael at third, one of the biggest plays of the weekend was 4-2. We had just missed an opportunity on offense. They were first and third, one out. Anthony made another great pitch. Michael quickly got the ball. Danny turned double play, and at that point it was like we were winning. We're winning this game, and there've been a lot of those along the way. This team's done a really good job of making the plays that it's need to make when the tipping point of the game comes along.
Steven's ability to.
He's been unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know who was the shortstop, but I've never had a guy go through the season and have 3 errors at shortstop in Division I baseball. That's phenomenal. That somebody needs to be talking about that. And I think Danny has 3, and I think Michael has 3. So you don't even have double-digit errors between your shortstop, second baseman, and third baseman. That's a heck of a job by those guys.
All right, we are back here closing out hour number 2 here on this Wednesday morning. Appreciate everybody joining us. Make sure you are subscribed over to the Tingle Co channel on YouTube. We're live over there as well right now, dual streaming. So make sure you're ready over there, because in just a couple weeks, that's where we will be living, no longer here on the Jordy Collada Show channel. So make sure you're subscribed and following everywhere. Also, make sure you're following and subscribe to New Orleans Football everywhere. We're going to talk to Nick Underhill in just a minute about the New Orleans Saints, who have a very important offseason underway. They're rolling through the quarterback situation. Obviously, much to talk about there. Lloyd, I will ask you the question before we get Nick in here. Would it be good or bad for Spencer Rattler to win?
C or no?
C or no for Spencer Rattler to win the QB1 job in New Orleans?
Bad.
I agree. I'm with you. I feel
but
like
also, if y'all wanted to play this game,
play the game.
why'd you draft him? feel like you could do kind of if you're trying to go in this direction, in which it feels like the Saints are kind of pointing toward. With the 32-year-old Tyrann Mathieu, Cam Jordan's 34.
Demario
Davis is a man of faith.
Yeah, I mean, you have an old roster.
And then you draft a quarterback to do what? If you are going to have a bad season, just take a quarterback then, and then you could have helped your roster be better for him.
Right.
But, hey, I'm not, what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it works out. But I'm with you. I feel like
I'm not a doctor.
It would change the perception on pick 40 this past draft in Tyler Shuck if Rattler goes and wins the job, because you would look at pick 40 and it would be a whole bunch of what ifs of all of these position players and guys on the board. Why didn't you take them when the quarterback that you went out and took is not good enough to beat a quarterback in Spencer Rattler who was 0-6 last season as the starter. So the hope really is that Shuck is the guy, like that he pans out. He's the guy. He can, he'll be the starter next season. That's what the Saints want. I mean, he's Kellen Moore's guy. That's the expectation. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I still think the job is up for grabs between those two. Jake Haener is still on the roster. I don't think he has a true shot at winning that job. We saw what it looked like when he was out there. And we've got Nick Underhill of NewOrleans.football joining us to dive deep into the New Orleans Saints discussion. Nick, thank you for your time this morning. How are you?
You guys doing?
Doing good. We'll get it started. The quarterback position is what the conversation for the Saints has been all around for as long as I can remember, as Breeze retired. And now going into next season, you've drafted a quarterback at pick 40. You've still got Spencer Rattler on the roster. Is it a real two-man competition between those two guys, or is Shuck kind of, prior to it getting underway, decided as the QB1? And if Rattler does end up being the guy, is that good or bad for the organization?
I think going into it, Tyler Shuck's probably the presumed favorite for the job because they went out and they drafted this guy and they already had Spencer Rattler on the roster. So that to me says they think that he can be better than Rattler. They believe he will be better than Rattler. He's the guy that Kellen Moore picked for his offense. He already had the other guy on the roster, and you decided to use the 40th pick, which is a high pick. It's a borderline, basically like a first round pick at that spot. So that's a heavy price to pay for somebody. So that means they're really high on him. But would it be a disaster if Tyler Shuck isn't ready to go week one? I don't know that I would go that far. I think it would be disappointing. I think it would be extremely disappointing because it's not like Shuck's competing against even an Andy Dalton. Like if Andy Dalton wins the job, he's holding the job until you're ready, then okay. I think people can kind of live with that. It's a little bit different though when it's kind of three other guys with no experience at all are the ones that are competing for this job with Shuck. And if he can't beat them out, I think the level of competition is a little bit lower. But there's another part of this too. Like if Shuck just happens to not be ready to go week one and you want to put somebody out there to take the snaps until your guy that you view is the long-term starter of your team is ready to go, I don't think that's the end of the world. I don't think you should put him out there before he's ready, but I do think it does hit a little bit different just if he doesn't outright win this over a guy that has 7 appearances in the NFL, started 6 games, has never won a game. I mean, it's the barrier for entry is a little bit lower than I think it is in a lot of other situations because this is a very, very unique quarterback situation where you literally do not have somebody on the roster that has won an NFL game before.
That's one way to put it. It sounds a little dire when you put it that way. And trying to win an NFL game, of course, if you have a quarterback that will be a rookie going into his first season as a presumed starting quarterback, you would hope that you would put weapons around them. I've seen your recent piece on NewOrleans.football. Chris Olave is a name that is somebody that the Saints brass, the Saints team, the Saints fan base, somebody that you've been able to circle. Is there a world in which you don't see him on the Saints because of, are you in sell mode or are you in buy mode? Is there something that you can get to where you possibly give away a starting wide receiver to try to help your quarterback in the future.
Yeah, it's a super interesting situation. I think the Saints should be kind of in sell mode, but they also have to be in the develop the quarterback mode, and I think that is paramount over anything else. And the rumors about Chris Olave, they make sense because if you are another team looking at the other teams in the league, the Saints look like a team that is rebuilding, that should be tanking, that probably Olave isn't on the same timeline as the rest of their team, which is crazy to say because he's only been in the league for 3 years. But I think you are at that starting over point, and 2 years from now, Olave is going to be a free agent. And presumably, if you're Chris Olave, right now, as you look at it, I think you got to look at this situation as if you're going to be out of here in 2 years because they don't have a quarterback answer. And you probably want to be a guy that gets 1,300, 1,400, 1,500 yards every single season. You have the ability to do that. And I don't think right now the Saints have the ability to support you in that capacity. A lot could change in 2 years, though. If Shuck's really good, then all of a sudden I think things make sense for Olave to stay here. But as it sits right now, trading him would be kind of crazy to me because I think everything you do should be about developing Tyler Shuck. And if you take Chris Olave out of this situation, now he's down to Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, and Kevin Austin Jr., which isn't a great wide receiver room. And I think you just need to make things easier on your rookie quarterback if you want him to build confidence, grow, get better. And I think you need at least one guy that you can kind of count on to elevate the quarterback. Rashid's a highly talented player, and I think he does on maybe, post corners and go routes, but everything underneath that, I don't think he's making your quarterback better. Brandon Cooks isn't really somebody that runs routes over the middle a whole lot. He's kind of more of a mechanical route runner, pretty much just out on the outside as an X most of his career. He never really moves into the slot. Olave is the one guy that's kind of totally versatile. He can play from every position. He can run routes from all three spots. I think getting rid of him makes life way harder for Shuck. Now, if you get a good enough return, so be it, whatever. Like you kind of go through a year, however you got to go through it, and then you go in the draft next year if that return's that high. But I just don't see anyone offering enough for the Saints to really entertain that offer.
And I don't want to call it shrewd business, but obviously being a surveyor of the Saints, and you've seen Chris Olave's injury history, is this the time where you kind of as stocks go, buy low, sell high, and you kind of try to get something for maybe you don't know what the future is with them, and you're able to sell production versus maybe I don't know how much time he has left playing football.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that you kind of got to take into the equation with it. I honestly think that if you were selling him right now, you'd be selling him kind of low because he is kind of coming off, a bad season, a season with a lot of injuries. If you had a healthy season with him, a year from now, maybe in a better offensive system, maybe his stock's a little bit higher. It's tough to know how that goes. Or it could be what you said, the next hit, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a guy that's had a lot of concussions and the worry increases even higher. So it can kind of go either way. So, I mean, you make a valid point there. There is an injury risk here. I think even if Chris is totally healthy, the perception from the outside looking in, his doctors could say, hey, you're good. The risk is low, whatever. I don't know what that is, but yeah, optics kind of dictate what the value is. And you are right. There is that element to it. But I just don't see the stock getting, too much lower. If you were to trade him, I feel like it's kind of low right now, but you might be right. You definitely could be right. The next hit could change that whole picture.
The NFL schedule was released. The Saints got their schedule. What were your thoughts and takeaways from what the season will look like for the Saints in 2025?
What was this 3D cube transition there? That was.
Oh, you like that?
Is that new? Is that new?
You like that one?
That?
Oh, look at that. Hey.
All right.
We got a producer back there.
Hey, new show, cuz.
Okay. All right. I see what's going on here. Schedule. Yeah. Look, there was only really one thing that I thought was kind of tough on the Saints. Every year the schedule comes out and it's 3 games in 10 days, or there's always something where it kind of feels like they got screwed. I don't feel like they got significantly screwed on the schedule. The only kind of quirk there is they're playing 3 teams coming off a bye, which isn't great. The week 3, week 4 swing is tough. Buffalo away, Seattle away. But overall, it feels advantageous. I mean, it's kind of insulting not to have a primetime game, but, so be it. That's where the Saints are. We've all wanted them to rebuild. They aren't probably an interesting team to people outside of the borders of, the Gulf Coast. I think inside of that border, I feel a little bit more interested in him than I have in a while, just because it's something new and you're kind of up close and there's a new coach and there's a new quarterback and the freshness of the start. But if you're some guy in San Francisco and you're looking at this, it's like, man, who's on that team? They aren't very good. I don't want to watch them. So I get that. You're going to have to earn your way back. No Thursday night game, I think, is an advantage. The Saints are like, 0-6 in the last 6. That's good for them to not have to do that. I think the schedule sets up okay for them. But that beginning stretch of the season, I think those first 4 games, there is a reality like where you could be sitting like 0-4 or 1-3. It could be dire kind of quick, but that's where they're at right now. They're gonna have to earn their way out and show people that they can win more games than everybody expects.
What are the odds? You like this one too? What are the odds of what are the odds the Saints get flexed one time this year?
The slow reveal is Lloyd.
Oh, now it's you.
Yeah. What was the question?
I forgot. No. What are the over under the probability that the Saints get flexed one time this year?
I think pretty low. I mean, but look, if they surprise everybody, maybe they get one. I just don't think they're an interesting team right now. I don't expect them to win a ton of games, but if they shock the world, sure, I can see them getting flexed. But
I'm tired of watching the goddamn Giants and Jets play, and the Cowboys. Can you get the Cowboys off my television?
The Falcons got 5 of them. I mean, that's a big bet on a team that could possibly not pan out. The Jets thing was terrible. I mean, Rodgers getting hurt made them incredibly uninteresting, and then it was like every week they were the Sunday night game or the Monday night game.
Carry out that flag one more time.
Like he died like 2 snaps later. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. It was unbelievable. Like he comes out with the flag and then he's just like done. I'm waiting to see what he does too. I mean, he needs to sign with I'm guessing he'll wait until after minicamp. Like I'm guessing he just doesn't want to do minicamp and then he'll probably be a Steeler right after that.
His darkness retreat or whatever he's up to. But I mean, hey, you can't fault me. I did pitch the idea of Aaron Rodgers to the Saints and it had to get shot down. So, I'm no journalist, but at least it was out there long enough to get shot down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, it would have made sense too, like if they were trying to keep going for it. I mean, it sense in the terms of like their DNA of how they operate, not sense in like this would be the best move for the team. I would have hated it just because I think it's just time to restart, let go, go back to square zero, whatever it is, like and build up from there. Getting Rodgers in here would have ran counter to that. It would have just been holding on longer to kind of what you have. So yeah, I'm glad they didn't. But like within their DNA historically, like that would have been a very Saints move. Bring this guy in, try to win 8-9 games, win the division, go for it. Like it would have very much been something that would have made sense for them. It wouldn't have surprised me at all. But I'm very glad that it seems like they aren't going to do it.
The New York Giants also have an interesting quarterback situation, and it seems like somebody's going to end up being the odd man out over there. And if it is Jameis Winston, placating to the fans a little bit here, is that a possibility of Jameis and New Orleans reuniting?
Oh, maybe. I mean, look, I think Jameis would be good in that like mentorship role, being the guy in the locker room, just kind of hanging out, helping, doing whatever he's got to do. I think he's a good teammate in that sense. We saw it firsthand. I think the thing that works against Jameis, and this has nothing to do with him, it's completely isolated from him. He doesn't do it. He doesn't make the noise, but he is a person that has a lot of noise around him. And I don't know. I don't know if I want that to be something around my I think it could create I feel like Jackson Dart could end up in a tough situation really, really quickly if he's playing. I think, however, like he's probably maybe a year away from getting those reps there. But if you want Chuck to play week 1 and you just want a guy in the building, Jameis is a guy that comes with a lot of noise, and that is something that could impact your starting quarterback. So you would just have to make sure that Chuck could, that's an atmosphere conducive to his success. And, that would work for him. But if everything's about Shuck and he's the guy playing, just make sure you're getting the right people in the building behind him. I would guess kind of no on that one right now. It just seems like they want to roll with what they got. But, I would, if it was me running the team, as soon as I know Shuck is winning the job, if I'm running the job, I'm doing whatever it takes to support him. And everything is about him at that point. It's not about developing anybody else. It's not about any other young quarterback. If I could trade someone to get the right like veteran backup mentor behind him, someone in the room that can just answer questions, can help him, can show him how to be a pro. As soon as I know Shuck has beat everyone out, like nothing else matters except trying to make him better. So I would be willing to do anything it takes to get the right atmosphere around him. And I do think I disagree with their approach on the like not necessarily wanting the veteran quarterback in the building at this point. I think there's value in that, just in the element of having somebody to answer questions in any workforce. Like, no one wants to go to the boss to ask the question that clearly reveals they're an idiot and didn't understand something. And we all go through that stuff. And there's safety in being able to ask a peer, a coworker, whoever, hey, what did he mean by this? I didn't understand this. So, like, are we supposed to do this? Like, if you're trying to win a battle in training camp and you're up against, don't Spencer
cheat off
Rattler, Jake
Jameis's
Haener.
paper.
Well, no, I mean, the point I'm making, though, like, is if you're in a competition with Spencer and Jake and you're Tyler Shuck and you don't understand something, you don't want to have to go to Kellen Moore, or Doug Nussmeier, or Tolzien and ask them, hey, I didn't get this. What does it mean? Because you're trying to show you're the most put together person on the team. So if you have like Andy Dalton in that room who is just trying to stay in the league, collect his $2 million, whatever it is, and he knows his way to stay in the league longer is to just be that person that helps your young quarterback develop. I mean, there's safety in having that person in the room to where the quarterback or any other young player can say, hey, how does this work? And you aren't going to someone that's necessarily going to judge you. But like, Rattler's trying to win that battle. Jake Haener's trying to win that battle. I'm not saying they won't help him out, but if it's, if you're cut from that shrewd cloth, if you're Art of War type of person, I mean, someone not understanding something is a victory for you. And maybe, you aren't as helpful as an Andy Dalton or a Jameis Winston or somebody else would be, knowing that, hey, my way to stay in the league and make, $15 more million over the next 3 years is to be somebody that helps young quarterbacks develop.
Is there an odder threesome to join, or I guess twosome to join, than if you're Jackson Dart and you walk into the room and it is Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston?
It's a wild quarterback room, really. I mean, like it's three guys that kind of get a lot of attention in a market where they want to give attention to people, in a market where they want to create division and put you on the back page and have tabloid headlines and all that stuff. So it is that is going to be a wild room for Dayball to manage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least the Saints didn't do that, where you bring in too many, and you're like, I don't know which way to turn, because there's the God-fearing man in Russell Wilson, and there's Jameis Winston eating a W. It's like, I don't know where to go.
Yeah, and and even here, just the way the team gets covered, it's not really like sensationalistic either. Like, I think it's a lot of like level-headed, logical people. Nobody's really trying to like create a headline. Everybody's trying to be fair to everybody. There's no like gotcha stuff. I can't ever remember that kind of happening here. So I mean, like, even in this market, you could do that and it'd be quieter. It'd still be insane though. Like, it's an insane room to have. But I think in New York, like, it's just like putting that thing in a fishbowl, and it's just going to be there every single day. And, there's 50 people covering the team. Like, even if it's just like one person doing the story one time, every single time, like, there's 50 different people doing it. That's what it was like in New England too. Like, I go to Access here and there's maybe 7 people there on a Thursday in week 3. For whatever reason, rookie camp, the first couple of weeks of training camp, it's like there's like 40 people that show up that you never see again once a game starts. And it's like, I don't understand why this is happening. But like, in a week 7, there's like 7 people covering the team. Like, New England, it'd be like 45 people, like literally in the locker room. There'd be more media. There'd be 3 or 4 media for every player in the locker room at any given time. New York's the same way. So like, you put that thing in a fishbowl, man, like it's going to be loud for the whole season probably.
It was announced that in the 2028 Olympic Games, NFL players can compete in the flag football event. Do you see a good number of like high-level NFL players actually being interested in doing that?
I do. I saw like Justin Jefferson posting about it the other day, saying, it'd be like a dream to play in the Olympics. I think there's a handful of guys that are going to want to do it. I mean, we all like grew up watching like the basketball teams, man, the dream teams early on. That's probably before some of these guys in the league's time, which is insane to think about how old I am now. They were all team. Like, yeah, like 92 was like 10 years before like guys coming to the league were born. That's insane to think about, man.
Me and Tyron Matthew are the same age.
I need Rodgers back in the league, so I know there's at least like
Call Brett Favre.
You know what I mean? Yes, man. Like get somebody in the league like old. But yeah, look, I think what'll happen is they'll play in it until like somebody pops an Achilles, and then no one will ever play in it again. Like that's what's gonna happen.
And that's my question towards it is like the sustainability of it all. Like I could see it being a one-time deal for the first time it happens. Like you roll out the red carpet, you get the stars, Mahomes. You have the guy that plays flag football that thinks he's better than Patrick Mahomes. But like all of the guys that you would see, and like there's no truer sport in America than football. And so you roll out the red carpet, then after the next 4 years, like that was fun, and now let's not do it anymore.
Who else even has like a team? Who else even has a team, man? Like who else would even be good? Like who else would even be good at this?
It's not worth it. I mean, that's good. That's why they're not playing tackle. It would be war. You just
like I just like what team are we looking at here? Like I could see like the globalization of the sport. Like I could see England having a team because like there's people that have been like watching it for a while. I just don't know. I don't know who else would be good at, like, are there like a bunch of like B-tier soccer players with like great movement skills that could potentially like transition into this? Like maybe I don't know, but I just like I don't like who are these guys going to be playing against? Like I don't even
to be a Pro Bowl.
Like Germany maybe, like they had the league over there. Could like Germany maybe have a decent team? I don't know.
Bust the needle out.
Australia, like I mean, like the stretch from like rugby to football, maybe it's just very weird to think about. Like, is it going to be like 92 where like they just kind of like kill everybody, and then 20 years later, like it influences more places to like try out the sport, and then 20 years from now, like there's actually some competition. I mean, that would be kind of cool, and it would be a good way to grow the sport. But I don't know, man.
I mean, are you born under a rock? Like you haven't seen football played? You're either in or you're out.
Yeah, I know, man. But like 92, like it kind of felt like that way with basketball, and like we were killing everybody in 92, and like now like the Americans can actually like lose a game, and it's like not the most shocking thing in the world. There's real competition now. Like I think kind of seeing like these huge stars and then being larger than life, but I don't know. The world's also changed a lot since then too. Like you're either paying attention to something or you aren't. Like where in like 92, like it's like playing on the news and like you have to watch, but like somebody in a newsroom decided you're gonna watch, and like that captures the attention of the world. I don't even know if like are global events even a thing anymore. Like I don't know like what the impact will be. It's gonna be crazy to kind of see if it does do anything though.
No, that's for sure. Well, we appreciate your time and all of the insight this morning. And we'll see what Lloyd does to transition.
Oh, I got one more. Hold on.
But we appreciate your time.
All right, man.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you guys next week, man. Have a good one.
You got
it.
Later.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, Lloyd got in his bag this morning. That was hilarious. Wait. Ask that question again.
I forgot what I said.
You just slowly revealed yourself. That was hilarious.
Thank you.
That was good. That was great.
I could do the roller door.
Great insight.
If you really want it. Yeah. Or I could do. I'm gonna save them.
Yeah,
that was my last one.
You don't want to show off too much, but yeah, great stuff from Nick. Great stuff as always. As he even went into the Olympics. Hey, that is a good point. I never even thought about that. I've just kind of taken it, like when they say that they're going to have flag football, I've just been like, dude, awesome. But like, who are they going to play? But I'm sure they'll have it figured out. The game's global enough, I guess. But we will do what
you know how like if first of all America is setting itself up for nothing but failure.
Of course.
If you don't wipe the floor with everyone.
Yeah, I mean.
But then if you beat them too badly, they're like, oh, look at how mean America is.
Look how rude the Americans are.
But that's when they're not playing
everybody.
tackle. If you played tackle football in the Olympics and no other.
It would cause a war.
No, you would just be like, oh, God, what? Like, this is violent.
Yeah. Yeah, it would ruin the PR of your sport. I mean, like, this isn't.
I can go find LaRon Landry to go play on the Olympic team, and that would end their thoughts
Chad
of football
Jones.
Real quickly. Yeah, it'd be like, this, don't like this at all.
Yeah, let's stop. Let's not do that. But Hunter Hall was talking about the athletic connection, so that's what we'll roll on to here to close out this Wednesday morning's show. As we are live on both channels, Colada Show and Tingle Co.
Have you seen that little on both streams. But if you sent a little Tingle Co, go ahead and click that subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe to Tingle Co. Follow all the pages. There's the TikTok page is up and rolling as well. At Tingle__Co is the channel. The subscriber count, we are at 9,172. Keep it growing. I know y'all want 10K before football season. I'm right there with you. Let's make it happen. We appreciate all of your support through the transition and the change over to Tingle Co. We will be rolling over there in June. Next week, like I said, I will be out, but I'll be streaming in. I'll be live call in, video call from the vacation that's been planned forever. I kind of wish it wasn't, but biggest. Oh, I want 10K. All right, then share that page.
Share.
You share that page.
I share that page.
But we'll close it out this morning with a little athletic connections, and we will make sure everyone's subscribing over at Tingle Co. Oh, I'll be doing my weekly phone hit with Sean Fox and 97.7 Sports Talk in North Louisiana. If you want to listen to me live at 4 p.m., hit the link on the Twitter. He shouted it out today. He's got his link in his bio, so go to Sean Fox's Twitter and turn and listen live as I answer some LSU questions at 4 p.m.
I see your plug and I raise you a plug.
What you got?
Mic'd up. Nice. 6 to 8, brother.
Come on. I wonder who
had an impromptu Jay on Monday. I thought he was going to be on Wednesday.
But they're traveling.
Well, the bus.
Bus Jay.
Bus Brothers.
Don't know who that is. That's
Jay
wrong.
was great on the show. I don't know what we're going to do today, but that's not my decision. Hopefully it's something fun.
CVO, that just broke my brain. Yeah, that's what we try to do here. Tingle Co. What we got? Quarter, period, inning, half.
Quarters, dimes, and nickels.
Well, that's what the quarter was in there to throw you off. I know their tricks. Because nickel and dime is a defense. Mm-hmm. Quarter is in there to throw you off, but quarter, I believe, goes with period and half, an inning, I would guess.
Say it again.
Quarter, period, inning, half.
Big first roll here. Nice.
And then I think penny.
46, 43, dime, nickel.
Yep.
Oh.
Because I think penny goes with basketball players.
Oh.
Wow.
I was confident. All right, whatever.
Because I think, or it would be prevent defense.
I know. I saw that, so I almost didn't click it.
I mean, dime is with assist. Stop.
Yeah, I agree.
There it is. Dime, assist, dish,
apple. Chuck.
I feel like Chuck is with Chuck, Penny, LeBron, Jordan. Mm-hmm. Do that. Do Chuck, Penny, LeBron, Jordan. Okay. And then this one will go assist, dish, dime.
Hip Hop Anonymous? Eponymous?
I don't know.
Eponymous means just like one word, like God.
Oh.
What's Apple got to do
I guess Apple's got to go with the...
Is that a defense that we don't know about?
No, I don't think. It's got to go with assists. Apple, assist, dime, dish.
I've never heard it called an apple.
Me neither. But I don't think it's a defense. There we go. A good pass. I've never.
I'm gonna start doing it. I don't like it, but I'll use it.
We had Garrett Nussmeyer
with an apple.
An apple.
The apple bomb.
Apple. There you go.
An A-bomb from A-Rod.
I've never heard apple ever.
Yeah, they made that up. I'm telling you, they're struggling, dude. We
They're
called it
running out of
yesterday.
things. Let me see. Sports
apple
term apple.
Yeah, I've played and watched basketball my entire life and never heard the term apple.
Ice hockey. That's why. Slang term for an assist in hockey is an apple. Oh. That's why. I guess maybe in Canada that sounds better.
Yeah, I was going to say sorry. Sorry we didn't know.
Sorry.
Okay then. Excuse me. Let me go. Pardon me. Oh, I didn't see you there.
Getting
Sorry.
in your Canadian bag here.
Oh, that was quite the apple there you had
Alex
for me.
Ovechkin with the apple.
Oh.
Sorry. But there you go. Athletic Connections knocked it out. Do we get faster than you,
Oh, thanks
Hunter
for
Hall?
holding that door.
Probably.
It's quite the apple.
That's a good one. You're going to use that now. I can feel it.
What if it's something that, like, if you say it to somebody that plays soccer, it's like, we don't fucking say
We
that.
don't say that. Dude. Don't ever say
Nice
that again.
dish. Like, oh, get out of here.
Yeah, no. Cut that out.
Last pick.
Cut that out. But, yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out with this morning. Get ready for some SEC tournament baseball throughout the day. As you'll find out, I guess the Texas A&M Mississippi State game will be the first game.
What time do they start?
Let me see. I'll pull that up now. Let me get this schedule up. Wednesday, May 21st.
I know what the 46 defense is.
First
CBO,
game,
you know
yep.
that.
A&M Mississippi State at 9:30. So in about 29 minutes, we will have A&M versus Mississippi State. What?
How did we do in our picks? I know you went through some of them.
There's only 3 games yesterday. I went 2 for 3. You went 3 for 3.
Oh.
We both have Texas A&M winning this one. That starts at
It's
9:30.
weird. It's like, watch ball.
Are you a ball knower?
Apple knower.
Apple knower.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's a 643 apple there. Apple.
Apple. All right, we will be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9, on both channels. So make sure you can hang out in whichever
Look how
channel
happy
you want.
he
Really.
is.
Ecstatic. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Love you guys.
You wish.
Okay. Show's over forever. Lloyd just quit. Fire.
It's Tingle Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9. It's Tingle Co. What up, Lloyd? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat, yeah, shit out to them. Not trying to ball like Big 4, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that